Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final round of Season 4 Neo Racing League Division Alpha.
Looks pretty good. Coming up into the DRS zone now. DRS wide open. And then using up the rest of that battery. And across the line, it's going to be a 38.5. That's a second out of the previous leader of JPS.
Yeah, that was absolute phenomenal job from Speed Queen. Rupsicola comes across the line, improves but stays P5. But that is the end of their sessions, as we've got Soda, who's going to be the last driver to finish the lap. Currently 2 temps up at the end of Sector 2. Is it more? They're going to remain in P8 though, and that is the end of session. Speed Queen is top of the time sheet. We're going to go to 26 laps, and we're going to go 5 red lights for the Baku City Grand Prix. It is lights out and away we go. We can see pixels off into the distance as we've been given an awful camera angle. As you go into turn 1, Speed Queen leads the way ahead of Vakuli and JPS. Vakuli and JPS, yeah, crash right at the back. That includes Marchmeister, who's got damage. Vakuli, JPS, I know he gets more damage. There's more contact between other drivers. Meanwhile, Speed Queen leads the way ahead of Vakuli and JPS. We're going to go down towards turn 3 now. Can JPS make any sort of move? He breaks late but doesn't break late enough. He keeps ahead of David though, and then Rupsicola in P5. This guy now in Soda moved up to P6 and 7. Quick Medi's gone through the back of the grid and made 3 positions already.
The only people that definitely don't have damage are top 4.
Yeah, and
here we go. We're racing again.
Yeah, we're going to go again. We're going to see the 2 sister teams go at it of RB and Red Bull, because Vakuli is going to fly by. But here comes the mystery machine of David. Normally, we would see Gary in that car. Not anymore. David has flown by into P2. That is excellent stuff from David. Caught Speed Queen napping. So did Vakuli. They've moved up the order. Jumped JPS in the process as Green Gamers retired. We're now going to see side-by-side action between the Sauber and the RB into turn 3 as we go through the end of Sector 1 to end at the start of lap 2. David takes the lead away from Vakuli as he go down towards turn 1, switches to the outside. Here comes Speed Queen as well. She's going to make a move. No, she can't. They're going to go 2 by 2 like it's Noah's Ark, and David maintains P1. But unfortunately, Speed Queen unable to do anything. The red lights are flashing. But here comes JPS, dives it up the inside and moves into P3. Speed Queen starts on pole, ends up in P4, and this is the worst possible thing that could happen. And even worse, it's a safety car. Safety car in this lap, and we will be able to get underway once more. David will lead the way ahead of JPS, then both on 5 lap old mediums, the rest on new hards. They will be trying to go to the end, maybe the top 2. We have to defend for a little while and then try and catch back up later on. Potentially going to be another safety car anyway, maybe with newer tyres. They will be able to easily go to the end. I do apologise.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the safety car again.
Speed Queen's got a 10-second time penalty for a collision with Rupsicola. That has completely flipped the race on its head, because Speed Queen will now have to serve that when they next come into the pit lane. We're going to see side-by-side action between them. Speed Queen and Rupsicola once more. Rupsicola getting caught up and then getting sent behind the teammate. They're actually ghosting through each other at the moment, but so that will keep them out of any collisions temporarily. So we're going to see David leading the way, getting an almighty jump off the line ahead of JPS, and then getting a 6/10 clear gap. JPS is looking to size up and move on David for the lead. We're going to go to the inside line. Goes JPS, and David will have no answer for it. That is very unfortunate for a team that in real life is reading the constructor standings, as Handflap Kelly has gone into the wall at the castle section, and that is the Aston Martin's day done. Speed Queen will lead the pack away from Vakuli. This guy there, Rupsicola, JPS, David, and then Quick Melly. With 7 drivers left in the field. We've had 4 retirements. Can these 7 get to the end of a circuit that is very difficult to stay out of the wall in? Speed Queen weaving left and right just to make sure they get an extra bit of warp for their tyres, waiting to go at the right time. Speed Queen chooses the right time to go and pulls a couple car lengths away from Vakuli. This one, meanwhile, This guy Neo and Rupsikola are going to go side by side into turn 1 and then turn 2. Rupsikola not giving much of an inch to this guy Neo and takes away P3. And now this is going to be an opportunity for Rupsikola because he's still going to have to slipstream and no DRS from Neo backwards. So therefore, they will be able to keep P3. And that was probably the best opportunity they've had. Meanwhile, David and Quack Melly are going to go side by side for P6. Can David defend? Because Quack Melly seemed to have got the better start. And David is starting to struggle as we go down through towards sector 2 into the chicane. They're still side by side. They don't want to be side by side too long. There's a bit of contact there, and that has almost ended in catastrophe. Both staying out of the wall, but Quack Melly trying to make a move, but they can't quite do it. Here comes the slipstream. Here comes the DRS. Where does the Williams go? To the inside. Actually, to the inside goes this guy Neo, called not just 1 but 2 lacking. As we go down the inside, that's a massive dive bomb from Rupsikola. What was that move? He brakes way too late, and that's just ended up with a mass amount of damage on the Mercedes. Rupsikola, what sort of move was that? That was diabolical. Rupsikola will have DRS, but we'll be running out of ERS at this time. DRS for David down towards turn 1, and he will take P2, potentially look at P1 to the outside. He looks, Speed Queen defends. Speed Queen will ultimately lose out a bit of momentum on the exit, but David cannot capitalise. We go into turn 2. David is all over the back of the Red Bull, but can the Sauber make his way past Speed Queen? Because here we go, DRS for the Mystery Machine down towards turn 3. The Red Bull at this point didn't give Speed Queen the wings to keep in ahead for P1, and David retakes the lead at lap 17 of 26. The Coolies ended up in the wall, wanting that safety car, because at the moment it isn't going to help them. Meanwhile, Speed Queen is actually having to defend from this guy Neo, and at the moment there's actually a bit more. Rupsikola's ended up he's ended up well off the circuit, and that is and he's ended up retiring from the session. That has been absolutely gone the wrong way. But meanwhile, we're going to have this guy Neo and Speed Queen go side by side. Up the outside goes Neo retakes P2, and at the moment the Mercedes for JPS is hunting them both down. JPS to the inside, and this is the opportunity for the Mercedes to make it a 2-3. And the Constructors' battle for P2 in the standings is right on at the moment, because Mercedes can hold it if they stay like this. Just goes to the end if you're in the points at the very least. If not, just
that retirement makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. JPS has gone round. What has caused that? I think Speed Queen might have had caused contact, and actually Speed Queen's going to wait for the Mercedes. The Mystery Machine will end the season on top for F124, and David comes down that main straight for one final time and up towards the line, and it is David taking the final victory of the season in an excellent drive.
The end of 4 finishes stayed as they were, with David taking that victory ahead of JPS, with Speed Queen in 3rd, and then this guy Neo in 4th, and that's pretty simple. So let's go through to the Drivers' Championship, and that is Shoot Fizz on top by 12 points in the end, taking that title away from Speed Queen. Oh, what could have been this season? And then looking down the second half of the standings, Hamvlat Kelly is the leader of that one in P11. But oh wait, what's this? There's a 3rd slide, and there's even a 4th slide on these standings. And well, just to switch back to the 3rd, look who's there right down at the bottom. Cheeky. Then looking at the Teams Championship, Aston Martin taking that victory by a significant margin, 203 to 168. That's the end of season number 4. We'll see you in July for season 5.